In this video, we are discussing box and whisker plots. Box and whisker plots. So, we will eventually be working with these with data in particular, but I wanted to at least talk about the basics today so that way we have an understanding of what each component represents and how it comes into play. So, first of all, we have our box, this part right in the center here, and our whiskers. We will always have our box and our whiskers for our box and whisker plot. This number line at the bottom is to simply help us with data, help us understand what the data is going to represent when we have a specific number, okay? So let's talk about the box first. There's a couple of different components to the box. We have the lower quartile, upper quartile, and our median, of course. As I'm sure you can guess, our median is that line that is in the center of the box. That is the data that is in the center of the data set. Now you notice it's not 100% perfectly in the middle because not all data is perfectly spread out evenly on both sides. It's not always symmetrical. But this is the number that represents the middle of the data set that is provided. Okay? And then our upper quartile, upper, means this represents the top 50%. From the median up to the edge of the box here, this is from 50% to 75% of the data, okay? So it's the 50th to 75th percentile of the data. Okay? Now our whisker here is the rest of our data. So this right here represents 75th percentile to the 100th percentile. Some of you may have heard of percentile when talking about, for example, height and weight. When talking about test scores. It just means the set of data that is within the top 75 to 100% of the data. So the top of the data, okay? Lower quartile then, here, we are going to be dealing with the 25th to 50th percentile. And then the bottom whisker here is going to be 0 to 25%. Okay? You may have noticed there's this little X here on the side. That is called an outlier. So it's data that showed up. For example, if this was test scores, this could be from about, let's say, 50% to like an 89%. But there was one person who randomly got a 100 who's all the way up here. That would be our percentile outlier because it was so far away from the rest of the data that it just didn't fit in with this information. And if I tried to include it, it would make it look like it's weird and like it doesn't fit in, okay? So outliers are data points that don't fit in with the majority of the rest of the data.